Hey everyone, so in this section we're going to be talking about whether or not the MBA degree is something that you should actually consider for your future. Now for those of you who are considering this, it's actually very, very difficult to say holistically whether or not it's going to be a good investment for you because a lot of it is going to depend largely on your particular situation, where it is that you're going to be pursuing this education, what your current position is, what the salary of your position is, and what you can expect to get when you graduate. And so for this reason, it's going to be a little bit difficult to say or to make any blanket statements, but I'm going to give you kind of some more holistic things to think about when you're actually making this decision for yourself. So one of the first things you want to consider is any foregone salary within the period of time that you're going to be in school. So presumably you'll be in a 2-year program, so you definitely want to consider what this salary you're going to be expected to receive over the 2-year period if you weren't going to be in school. And you want to also add that to the tuition that you're going to be paying while you're at school as well, maybe any premium and living expenses that you're going to expect to pay through that period of time. And this is also something to consider if you have a spouse or a partner that's going to be coming with you who will also be required to stop working during this period of time, and maybe there's going to be some lost salary there as well. Another thing to consider is whether or not there's going to be any internship that's part of the program that'll offset some of this cost, and any type of salary or salary increases or one-time bonuses that you would have expected to receive over that 2-year period as well. Now, once you have this calculation, you're essentially able to determine what's going to be the total financial investment for this particular degree, and whether or not it's something that you're able to kind of live with for this period of time. In a lot of cases, people determine that the MBA is a great short-term investment where they're financially not going to benefit short-term, but over the next 5, 10, 15, or 20 years, it'll put them in a position where they're able to get to specific positions that they otherwise might not be able to get into, or able to get into particular fields that they otherwise wouldn't have been qualified to get into. So in a lot of cases, people are more than happy to forego the short-term benefits in order to gain the long-term rewards. It's really important to also consider the fact that for a lot of people, it might not even be a financial decision. Maybe you're in a particular organization, you're in a particular field that you're not very engaged with, or you're in a role that you just completely want to move away from, and you feel like the only way to get there is going to be with further education, and you feel as though even though you might not expect to receive any type of salary increase when you graduate, you're just happy to be in a completely different field of study that's more in tune with some of your skill sets and some of your interests as well. For your salary expectations when you graduate the program, a lot of students make the mistake of looking at industry standards, which I think is a huge mistake because when you look at the career outcomes for students at some of the most elite programs, they're actually significantly different than what students would expect coming out of 4th tier or unranked programs. It's very important for you to compare what you should expect to get out of the specific program that you're coming from, ideally from the most recent career statistic reports. It's also important for you to be very, very conservative with some of these estimates as well. A lot of people will look at average starting salaries and they'll assume, well, that's the average and I'm better than average, so I'm going to get more than that. Well, it's very important for you to be realistic with what you should expect in terms of your financial outcomes out of the program as well. The other thing to really think about is whether or not, the MBA is going to provide you with some type of mobility that you wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. And so perhaps you're going to get a position that isn't even as prestigious as the position that you had before your MBA, but you're now able to get a position in a completely different country because you have a sponsorship from the organization that was hiring you because of your visa status of being a student in that particular country. Now you have internship experience in that particular country as well too. And so now you've got some additional mobility that you didn't otherwise have before your actual MBA program as well. Like we'd mentioned, the the decision to do an MBA is not one to be taken lightly, and it's not something that can universally be said for everyone. In fact, it's very much an individualistic choice, and it's going to depend largely on your particular situation and whether or not you actually expect to see any type of financial gain relative to where you currently are right now, or if you're just looking for a little bit more diversity in terms of the type of careers that you're able to actually draw from in the future as well. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, and concerns. If you're going through this decision-making process right now, or if you have been through it in the past, I'd love to hear what some of your experiences were thinking about some of these programs and whether or not they're actually right for you and your future. And if you have gone through the MBA program, I'd love to hear, what experiences you've had thinking about this and what experiences you've had going through your MBA program, whether or not you felt like it was a great investment for you personally, and whether or not it's something that you would actually do again again, if you have the ability to do so. As always, thank you so much again for listening in. As always, make sure to like and subscribe if you appreciate this. As always, we'll see you in the next one.